Hey, what's cracking, everybody out there? Once again, this is Mr. Pound for Pound himself. It is gonna go down, definitely down, this Saturday, July 30th. By the way, my birthday was a few days ago, so happy birthday to me. Anyways, back on the topic, Dan Henderson and one of my favorite fighters of all time, Emelianenko, Fedor, are gonna have it out this Saturday, July 30th. Everybody tune in. You got to check this out. It's going to be at the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Chicago. It is going down. Now I'm just going to give you a little bit of breakdown of the fight from my perspective, my views. First and foremost, I got nothing but respect for both of these guys. I've been watching both these fighters since the early Pride days. Followed Fedor's career since he began. Also, Dan Henderson. Got nothing but much love for both these guys. I mean, Dan Henderson, what can you say about that, man? You know, great wrestler, great hands. I mean, nothing but heart. He's been in wars, you know what I mean, over there in Pride, and also in the UFC. I mean, he's had some tough fights. He's fought opposition Anderson Silva, Quentin Jackson, Vanderlei Silva. I mean, he's fought people like, Michael Bisping, Rich Franklin. I mean, and then, Yuki Kondo. I mean, the list goes on. And if you talk about the Emperor, you know what I mean, Emelianenko, Fedor, I mean, a legend, already. I mean, no one has really a record like Fedor in MMA. You might find that record in boxing, but as far as MMA, no one really has those sparkling records, 31-3, you know what I mean? And those, to be honest, those three losses weren't even, I'm not going to say, okay, they were losses, but I'm just saying those three losses, one was really not a loss. That was Tsuyoshi Kosaka early in his career. I think maybe his fourth or fifth fight. And he got stopped by a cut. And he was actually winning the fight, but they stopped it because of a cut. So that was one loss. And then the most recent two losses, in my eyes, I mean, he should never really been in there. Those guys are huge. And that's one of my knocks on Fedor. I'll get to that later. But, I mean, really, this guy's record should be, 34-0. But still a legend in my eyes. Dan Henderson, still a legend. I mean, this is going to be a great fight. I mean, both these guys are going to bring it. Fedor's coming off, losses. He's hungry, hopefully. But I honestly believe from reading, the press articles and stuff online, I think he's hungry. I think he wants to get back in the light. With Alistair Overeem pulling out of the tournament, I mean, this gives him a chance to possibly get back in there somehow. I mean, we don't know. We've seen things pulled before. We've seen strings pulled before in tournaments, and things can happen. So Fedor could probably get back in. You never know. My favorite to win was Alistair at first. And now, I mean, he pulled out. I think Josh Barnett's got a great chance at winning that. But let's see, maybe, hopefully, Fedor can get back in the mix. Well, back over to Dan Henderson. I mean, he's coming off some momentum. He knocked out Babalu with that beautiful knockout. Knocked out Cavalcante, which was just vicious. That was a lovely knockout. I mean, he's got some momentum coming into this Saturday's fight. Fedor has some demons he's going to have to fight, and it's going to be very, very interesting. You got one guy high on confidence. You got the other guy, a little cautious at this moment of confidence, saying, hey, can I still do it? Am I still the old Fedor of old? I mean, but what I think Fedor needs to realize in his mind, and I think what a lot of people in the MMA world need to realize, a lot of people that try to discredit Fedor, UFC fans that try to say, oh, the Pride champion wasn't all that great after all, they got to realize that these two losses, his recent losses, Antonio Bigfoot Silva, Fabricio Verdum, the Verdum fight, I mean, that could have easily been written off as a fluke had he came back with a victory against Silva. But for the fact that Silva beat him, and he beat him handily, people are saying, oh, those two losses are definitely legit. Now, the Verdum fight could have been, it did look like he knocked Verdum down. He got overly aggressive. He threw a punch, landed in the guard, and stayed there, and then got caught. And I mean, with a guy like Verdum, who's bigger than Fedor, I mean, much bigger than Fedor, outweighs him. It's not easy to get out of that type of hold. You know what I mean? Now, a guy Antonio Silva, I mean, God, Fedor was outweighed by what? I mean, to be honest, 40 pounds, you know what I mean? 40, 50 pounds, maybe more, you know what I mean? So, I mean, a big weight discrepancies. So when people talk about the losses on Fedor, I don't even really look at it because he's fighting these guys he never should even be in there with. I mean, these guys are huge. But it is Fedor's choice to fight at heavyweight. So, I mean, there's always, people have their opinions, and any way you say it, there's always going to be an argument to whatever argument someone has. You can always say Fedor shouldn't have been in there, but then someone's going to say, well, he shouldn't have fought at heavyweight. To my opinion, honestly, they should open up a super heavyweight division MMA. But I don't want to dig too deep into that, but that's actually going into why I think this is going to be a really interesting fight. Henderson's obviously the smaller guy. He's going to be, of course, probably going to come in lighter than Fedor. He's just naturally smaller. Fedor is the naturally bigger guy. He's a natural heavyweight. I'm thinking Fedor's going to come in around 218, 220, 222. Henderson probably come in. I mean, if he comes in big, he'll come in probably about, 210, 215. Hopefully he put on some muscle for the fight. Both these guys are great wrestlers. Dan Henderson has a great pedigree of wrestling. He has great striking. Fedor also is a great sambo practitioner. Has some good striking skills as well. I think the fight's going to play. I think it's going to be a very cautious first round. My thing about Henderson is he's very easy to read. I mean, if I was in the ring with him, I know he wants to hit me with the right hand. You know what I mean? It's there all day. He cocks it back. I mean, all the way to Mexico. You could see that right hand cocked from, way back in the moon. So it's like, he wants to land the right hand. That's his main objective, main goal. And everything else is just, everything else is just there to set up that right hand. With Fedor, personally, I feel Fedor has a lot more tools. He has a sambo background. He has great wrestling. I mean, he has good submissions. I mean, we've seen numerous times where Fedor submitted people. He has massive punching power. He has good speed for a heavyweight. I think Fedor has more tools all around as a fighter than Dan Henderson. I think Henderson is two-dimensional. I think he's a good wrestler, and he has that good right hand. Also, I think some goods and bads. I think Dan Henderson is a very tough guy, and he's a very good and strong-willed guy. He has a tough will. It's hard to break his will. The bad about that is, and when you're in there with a guy like Fedor, if you can't get him out of there, you're going to take some punishment. I mean, I've heard before that toughness doesn't always pay off, because when you're a little too tough, but you're just not as good as the other guy, you're going to take a beating. Very possible that may happen this Saturday. Now we all know Dan Henderson has a granite chin. We know Fedor has a very good chin as well. This would be an interesting fight because Dan Henderson can crack, and if Fedor gets cracked with that right hand, which is always possible, we may see Fedor get knocked out for the first time. Very possible, very interesting. Dan Henderson has speed I don't think Fedor is really going to have seen before with the hands, and he has some punching power. I'm not going to say he's going to be the hardest person to hit Fedor. No, not by no means. Because when Fedor was getting hit by, Crow Cop and these other guys in Pride, I mean, those were some guys that could really crack. So I'm not going to go there to say, Henderson's the strongest puncher he's fought and, blah, 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 and try to blow up the fight by no means. But he's definitely got that one punch power, but so does Fedor. So as far as power, I'm going to go with, of course, the Emperor. He's going to be the bigger, stronger guy. He's going to have more power. As far as speed, that's Dan Henderson all day. Henderson's definitely going to be the smaller guy. He's very fast. He's got fast combinations when he does throw punches, when he chooses to throw combinations. Lately, he's just been loading up on that right hand, but we've seen him do some combination punching in say his fights with Vanderlei Silva. I mean, he's opened up, in the pocket and really thrown down before, and he has quick combinations. So if he lets his hand go, he could get, Fedor in some problems. But so speed to Henderson, power to Fedor. Wrestling, I'm going to go with Fedor because he has great wrestling. Not only that, he does have the sambo background. He has good submissions. So I think Fedor is all around better on the ground. And as far as toughness, both these guys have proven their mettle. So as far as heart, that's both. I give them both that. As far as experience, both, they're both very experienced. I think Dan Henderson has more fights in the ring. No, actually, you know what? Let me see, 27. I think they're almost equal as far as fights, because I know Fedor is 31-3. That's 34. No, yeah. Dan Henderson has more experience by one fight. But so the experience factor is equal. The experience in tough fights, equal. This is a great fight. The one thing that I think it's going to come down to, and the first thing people say when they say, who are you going to win the fight? I say, this is the first thing that comes to mind. People say, who do you think is going to win the fight, man? I say, well, Fedor's not fighting a giant this time. He's fighting a good guy that's similar to his size for the first time in a long time. We haven't seen Fedor against guys his size in a long time. You know what I mean? We don't see... he's the beast. Fedor that's why they call him the king. He's always beating these guys that are just bigger than him. Way bigger than him. If you go back, I think the last guy he fought that was even anywhere near Dan Henderson's size was Matt Lindland. You know what I mean? And we saw how that ended. It was ended by an arm bar. And we got to see. Dan Henderson is no Matt Lindland. Matt Lindland's no Dan Henderson. So I can't really speak on that. But for the simple fact that, he handled Matt Lindland pretty easy. It may go the same way. You know what I mean? So my personal pick for the fight is Emelianenko Fedor. I'm going to pick the victory. I'm not going to pick how I think it's going to happen. But I do think Fedor has all-around tools to beat Henderson. I think he stays away. I think he doesn't get caught with the right hand. I think he's smart enough to know. He's probably reviewed tape. And he has, all signs point to Fedor if you really look at the fight. Better submissions, stronger, bigger guy, better wrestling, and we'll say he doesn't have better striking. I'll give striking to Henderson. Even though Fedor has great hands, I'm just giving one to Henderson because I really honestly want to give striking to Fedor too. But let's go ahead and give Henderson one on the striking side since he has been knocking people out lately. But I feel honestly the striking possibly is equal. So yeah, I see Fedor Emelianenko definitely winning the fight. My mind's, this is because I always give you guys my mind's perspective and then I always give you my gut perspective. My gut instinct says Fedor by knockout or referee stoppage. Now, my mind says, hey, Dan Henderson's a really tough guy. You can't just really stop Dan Henderson. You know what I mean? So my mind prediction is honestly saying, hey, he's not going to stop Dan. He might beat him up. He might knock him down. Things might happen. There might be a firefight, gunfight. They get, they get into it and Henderson goes down a couple times, but not out. My mind's prediction, my knowledge of MMA and fighting in general, Fedor by submission. I think Fedor will probably beat him up and either submit him with punches, submit him with strikes, or submit him with possibly armbar or Kimura, like we've seen him do many occasions. And it would be great for Fedor. If he did win the fight, great. It's going to put him back in the media, get him back in some spotlight, get him a win, get some confidence going back in him. If, Henderson loses, he's coming off two brilliant knockout wins. So I don't really see it affecting his career that much. He could come right back and fight, another high profile fight, knock someone out. He can always build this fight as I fought the great Fedor. He was a little bigger than me, blah, blah, blah. He really doesn't have as much to lose. Fedor has all to lose in this fight. Because if he loses this fight, that's 3 in a row. They're going to bill it as you lost 3 in a row. You lost to a guy that's naturally smaller than you and blah, 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 blah. You guys know how they do it. You know how the media does it. So I'm pulling for Fedor actually because of those factors. And I do think he has the tools to win the fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a beautiful fight. If you guys can watch it because I will definitely be somewhere watching the fight. All right, and go ahead and check me out on the post-fight. I'll bring the post-fight to you. And you guys have a good day. This is Mr. Pound for Pound signing off. It's going down.